Hey gang, Ronan here. Welcome on back to the Cade and another episode of our ongoing series of one-day playthroughs. And for this week, because it's a game that I've been wanting to find a slot for a long time, I realized a couple of days ago that it was a perfect example of what I want to do for a one-day play. We're gonna get through Metal Slug, and not just any Metal Slug. We're gonna play the original version for the SNK Neo Geo from 1996, what I consider to be one of the best, not only arcade games of all time, but one of the best examples of what has become known as both the run and gun and the bullet hell style of arcade games. Now, a couple things before I get into this. One, I hope you guys have been enjoying our ongoing playthrough that we've been doing for the weekends of the original Dark Souls. We're doing that as bonus content, as recognition for us hitting 200 videos on this channel. And also, be sure to tune in for WTF Wednesday later on this week, where we will go play a game that on paper seemed like a good idea, but in actual practice, probably not so much. This is definitely not one of those games. I first discovered Metal Slug in the 90s, in the late 90s, when I was about 16, 17, 18 years old. And I was able to start going and playing games at my local nickel arcades, I should say, in the Pacific Northwest, where I lived at the time, that was called Wonderland or Electric Castle. You can go in and you can pay $2.75 to get in the door for the cover charge, and then every arcade game you wanted to play in there, every cabinet was a nickel. So what we're going to do over the course of the next 30 minutes or so, I would think, is we're going to get through this game. And it's not hard to do because it's only 6 levels long. Now, I want to pause it really quick just to give you a little bit of understanding of how this game works. So you are, and one thing I never really got about this game was how the story that goes into it. You are the member of a strike force called the Peregrine Falcon Strike Force. Your name is Marco Rossi, or you can have a co-op game where you can play as your fellow soldier of Fortune Tarma Roving, and you're trying to take down a rebel army led by Donald Morden, who has tried to initiate a worldwide coup d'etat and establish a new world order. The crazy little bit of trivia that I didn't know until I started looking into it was that this game is actually set in 2028. So in some ways it's slightly prescient, because in terms of game time, this happens about 5 years from now, which is a slightly sobering thought, but also in the Doctor Strangelove vein of crazy stuff. It's also a little bit funny, if you can look at it with a bit of gallows humor. So one thing that people at the time when this game first came out did not like about it was the degree of difficulty. Yes, there are only 6 levels, but are they easy 6 levels? No, they're not. Not by a long shot. This game devolves into chaos and anarchy faster than most people seriously can blink. And now we have found our first example of the eponymous Metal Slug, which is this tank. And the nice thing is it's got 2 rotating cannons that you can use to fire in any direction. And it's also got a turret-mounted base cannon, which I just used to blow this entire structure to Kingdom Come. Now, this guy with the beard and who's lacking a shirt, he is a hostage, and I am trying to rescue him, as well as his cohorts, because if I can get through this level and not die, there will be a payoff at the end of it for my having successfully done so. And this first level, I will tell you, is not catastrophically hard. As we've already gotten through past this first boss. Now, something else about this franchise I want to point out is that the original game is still considered very, very popular and is very well received. Its overall rankings on game rankings is 85% for the Neo Geo version. But this one game alone came out first on the Neo Geo, then the Neo Geo CD, then the Sega Saturn, then the PlayStation, then on the Virtual Console, which I don't even know what that is, came out on the PlayStation Network in 2010, was released on iOS and Android, then was released on Steam, and now the last variation of it came out on the Nintendo Switch 6 years ago. Now, probably the game that I can most easily compare this to from my childhood playing on the NES was the original Contra. Because, like Contra, you only takes one hit to kill you. And also, you get a variety of different weapons, and they're all signified by different letters. So, like right now, as you can see, I can blast this tank with a rocket launcher. And I also get grenades that I can throw. Now, if I want, I can go down and get that heavy machine gun, but I'm not going to, because I still have enough rockets that I can blow up these boats. But I definitely want to get that one. Oh, except I didn't jump in time. That's the problem. You get on the boat. If the boat sinks and you don't get off it quickly enough, you're gonna die.
Shotgun.
And now we have the shotgun, not to be confused with the spread gun. But this shotgun packs a heck of a wallop. And for good reason. But if there's one weapon that most people will tell you is the one that they like to have the most, it is the heavy machine gun. Trying to thread the needle there, and that was not as easy as I had hoped. There we go. I just need to knock this thing off the rails. Now, the thing that struck me about Metal Slug from jump was the art style. The art style is right up my street because it's cartoony enough that you don't take it seriously. And again, capitalizing on the Neo Geo's ability for 24-bit graphics. That made it even more interesting because you look at the color and the fidelity in this, and in some ways, it can help you discern what is happening around you, and sometimes it can be a genuine hindrance. because it's so colorful and it's so vibrant. So now we got to roll up on the back of this train. We got to take this big old plane out that is sitting here. We'll be entering the fracas in a moment. Now the slug can only take so many hits. But like these bouncing mines, that didn't help things. Ah! I knew one of them was going to drop back. Now I believe that's our big baddie, the guy here with the bazooka, who just blew me up again. So we get through level 2. Now to give you an idea of the lasting popularity of this game, it came out in North America in 1996 in arcades, and then also came out on, again, the Neo Geo system in May of that same year. And because the Neo Geo was such a rarity in the US, if you could find a good condition cartridge, a mid cartridge of the original Metal Slug went for $20,000 at auction, which is fairly unheard of even for a lot of classic video games of the time. I couldn't get up on that platform. I need to get up on the platform and bring the door back up so I can blow that barrel up and get in here. But like most bullet hell games, and even in some ways I can compare it to Dark Souls, there we go. Insofar that, one, you're going to die a lot when you play this game, and two, it is about pattern recognition and timing and all of that stuff, which is very common in most bullet hell games. And this guy's just annoying. It's pretty much impossible to take down without having a specialty weapon. There we go. Ah! And weirdly enough, a lot of the people who did not like this game when it came out did so for reasons that in a lot of ways just don't make a lot of rational sense. Because among the detractors, critics said that it wasn't anything all that original, which I strongly dispute. And that because it was only 6 levels, that it didn't challenge the game. But if you look at it in terms of what the classic arcade setup was, most games of this type they didn't have a gazillion levels to them. The idea of putting together a game that you would need to play over hundreds of hours wasn't really a concept, except for like super big role-playing games like Final Fantasy and stuff like that. And there's nothing wrong with those games. I mean, absolutely nothing at all. Come on. Look out. I knew I was going to get killed. Like, one of the games that I went and bought and finished this year was Final Fantasy 16, and I loved that game. It's one of the best role-playing games I have played in a really long time. But not every game has to be designed that way. And that's one of the things I like about bullet hell games, is that you can cram a whole lot more into smaller packages. And have just as much fun. And because of the cartoonish style of it, you genuinely, if you take this game seriously, you're missing the point.
Thank you. Okay.
See if I can get past this blasted tank. There we go. Oh, I thought I got by it. Damn it. Because now all it has to hit me with is the railgun. And now it's gone. But in the 2010 book, 1001 Video Games You Must Play Before You Die, Metal Slug was included in there.
Mission complete.
But EGM, Electronic Gaming Monthly, back in the day, criticized the game for saying the difficulty was unfair, had too many one-hit deaths, which I demonstrate quite perfectly there. Oh, they dove in and knifed me. And the non-SNK versions of this game apparently only had a certain, they had a finite amount of continues to them.
Thank you. Heavy machine gun.
Oh, tank fell on me. And that one just blew me up. gotta get this one out of the way. But it's funny because as everybody else was really getting into all the really big 32-bit games of the era in the late 90s, and I was really no different to an extent, but what I found myself really interested in doing more was being able to get over to an arcade where I could play a game like this. Because the one that they're missing the point on, in terms of a game like Metal Slug, is that if you get it, then it's fun. It's just because of how silly it is. Ah! Really shouldn't have jumped then.
Shotgun.
And there is a degree of satisfaction in knowing you can get through a level and not necessarily have to die a million times.
Heavy machine gun.
Ah! But a game like this also shares the similarity with Contra in that if you have the ability to do it, and you can put in something akin to the Konami code, which for people who don't know what I'm talking about and are not of my particular age, I can still tell you to you by heart, it's up, down, left, right, BA, start. Or some people to this day still think it's up, down, left, right, BA, select, start. They're wrong. But for most kids in my generation who like to play a game like Contra, if you didn't know that code and you couldn't pull it off, you couldn't beat Contra. Because you only had 3 lives like you do in this one.
Mission complete.
So we're at 23 minutes and we've got 2 more levels to go.
Mission.
The other thing I like about this game is that once you get going,
Machine gun.
it can actually be a fairly quick game.
Thank you.
But I seem to be trying to find every conceivable bullet these guys are throwing at me. Which I gotta say is damn annoying.
Heavy machine gun. Heavy machine gun. Thank you. Playing shot.
And yes, you could very much make the argument, oh my god, this is a violent game. It is. But is it so gratuitous in its violence that it detracts from what you're getting out of it? I wouldn't necessarily say so. I mean, I'm a fan of the original Wolfenstein 3D, which is the precursor to Doom. And I remember how much grief we got in that game because it embellished World War II and the fact that the predominant enemy in that game was, in fact, the Nazis. I have yet to play any of the modern versions of Wolfenstein, like New Colossus and all that stuff. But I've seen enough on those games to see how insanely violent those games are. I mean, the fact that you have it's almost in very much in keeping with the times, for lack of a better word. You know, some of those games, I'm not ashamed to say, very much had a feel of that era in the 2000s where one of the big things in popular entertainment was torture porn. And I'm not saying that to be glib, and I'm not saying that to be hyperbolic. I'm saying that because there was a lot of elements that I saw in those Wolfenstein games that were hard to take. And this is the antithesis of that. Yes, it is over the top in how many soldiers I am taking out here. But I could also make a very valid argument that it also is in keeping with the over-the-top action war movie subgenre that I grew up with in the 1980s. When you had guys like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone, and you had Predator, you had Rambo, and you had Chuck Norris in Missing in Action, and all the cheesy cannon flicks that took war and made it into a really satirical concept. Well, we got one guy, so we rescued Sergeant Pham.
Mission complete.
So yeah, Electronic Gaming Monthly didn't think much of this game at the time.
Start. Thank you.
Whereas other contemporaries like GamePro and old games really liked how the game was presented. They liked the fact that it was not a hard game to play, which it needed to be fairly simple to play because of how crazy it is. I mean, look at all these grenades I'm having to dodge. I got these guys climbing down walls. I'm frying all these guys left and right. But now we're just into the pure chaos of this game. This is so over the top. It's comical, and you can't not laugh about it. I mean, I could get really ticked off about the fact that I'm dying here, but at the same time, unlike all the times I've died to this point in playing Dark Souls, I can have a bit more of a laugh about it. So now the baddie has come and blown us up. And now we end up on an old derelict. I think this is supposed to be a U-boat. The only way we're going to get through this is by manning the deck gun. And now it's going to get even crazier because now these guys are coming in. I'm going to take just one more plane out. And of course the helicopters and the dive bombers show up. It is genuinely loony.
Heavy machine gun.
I can be back on the deck gun. I can't get the torpedoes in time.
Heavy machine gun.
Now if I can just blow this platform up. There we go. We have two more frogmen sitting here, and then I think we're running ashore. Wait for it. There he is. Have him crawl down. And now we are finally at Donald Warden, the big baddie. And we're going to die a lot here, I can already tell, because it's just, this guy takes so much damage in his helicopter. Although, if we can sit in this spot. Whoa. We're doing okay. Whoa. Ow. Sure enough, Ro, you say you're doing okay, and then you die. And I die again. But he's got his bazooka, he's got this... He's got the auto cannon that would shoot the ground. He's got his own personal bazooka.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I know I'm gonna die. But we've almost got him. Oh crap. And of course he just does a total bomb run on us. And he does it again!
Heavy machine gun.
Alright, turkey. Oh, you jerk. Still die. There we go. Come back down here.
Rocket launcher.
And I didn't even get to fire one of them off. Oh, and I get him. Grab the heavy machine gun, I hit him once, and he's gone. That is how this game works. But that has gotten us to the end, and we have beaten in 37 and a half minutes
Mission.
the original Metal Slug. So, we now get our final stats, of which we died 21 times, we captured 6 prisoners, and got over 455,000 points. So I will gladly pop my name on here. And that, everybody, is the original Metal Slug from 1996. So, let's get the particulars out of the way. Is this a good game? It is impossible for me to not be a little biased about it and say absolutely it is. It's one of my favorite arcade games of all time. For a lot of the reasons I've already conveyed. It's not a hard game to play. The animation and the graphics and the presentation of it is very tongue-in-cheek and very cartoonish. I like that it is not so over the top and gratuitous in the violence that you get running through each level. Yes, you are a soldier who is killing other soldiers, but it's not so crazy and over the top as I explained other games of this type were and are. Is it a game that I think you should play? Absolutely. If you've never played a Metal Slug game, give one a try. It is still challenging 30 years later. You know, it's still a game that will test your patience. And there are so many versions of this game that are out now. Like I said, the original Metal Slug alone was released on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 consoles. Of the original storyline, there are 7 versions of the game. The last one came out on the Nintendo DS in 2009. 1 through 6 you can still get for most standard consoles. Metal Slug 4, 5, and 6 you can get for Xbox and PlayStation 2. So my guess is you can find it on the PlayStation Store and also on Xbox Live, if not also just straight up on Steam. They've done 2 remakes for this series. Metal Slug X came out in North America in 1999. Metal Slug Double X came out in North America in 2010, was released in Japan in 2009. And that came out on the PSP, Xbox Live, PlayStation 4, and Steam. So that's it. It's the original one is a revised version of Metal Slug 2. Double X is a revised version of Metal Slug 7. And then they came out with 4 handheld consoles like the Neo Geo Pocket Color and the Game Boy Advance. They came out with smaller games for that as well. So there is a wide range of titles for this franchise that you can absolutely try. And you should. It's still a game that is in my usual repertoire to play every year. It's a game that if I want to play something and I don't want to play an RPG, or I don't want to play a sports game, or I don't want to play something more complicated and just want to have fun for half an hour, I'll pop on Metal Slug. And it has yet to let me down. The later versions expand the storyline. They expand what Marco and his team do. The Metal Slug stays the Metal Slug. It's still this little, pudgy gray tank. This little squat gunship that you can drive around in. And they incorporate more stuff like aliens come into it, and it stays very, very tongue-in-cheek and very much in the cartoon style that they created. And I'm glad they did. I'm glad that NASCA and SNK never took themselves so seriously with this franchise that they thought they had to take it in a direction that wasn't organic to what they originally intended when they created it. So, I'm playing this on the Win KWAX 1.65 emulator, which is a free emulator if you want to try the original Neo Geo version. Again, you can go online and find this on pretty much every staple console and platform that's available nowadays. Give it a try. Let me know what you think. If you've never played it, test yourself. See how good you can be at it. This is a game that you've got to use the common vernacular, you got to get good at it. So, in the meantime, as always, if you've enjoyed this content, best way to show it, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, ring the bell to be notified of the latest content. Be sure to follow us on social media, on both Instagram and Threads at Ronan's Retrocade. Spread the word about us. We are almost to our goal of 100 subscribers, and thank you to everybody who has subscribed over the last couple of months. Your patronage is, as always, highly appreciated. We do not take it for granted, and if anything, it behooves us to try and make better content and get stuff out more often. That way we keep engaged with you, and we build this little community that we started back a couple of years ago. And if there's a game you would like to see us feature from the Nintendo Entertainment System, the Super Nintendo, the Sega Master System, Sega Genesis or Mega Drive, SNK, Neo Geo, Nintendo 64, Sega Saturn, Sega Dreamcast, PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2, leave it in the comments below or drop me a line on social media. It can be any game you want from those consoles. My name is Ronan. It's been great to spend this one-day playthrough with you. Thank you for tuning in. Be safe, be well, happy gaming. We will talk to you again on Wednesday for WTF Wednesday. Bye.